wasn't sure I was going to make this video, and I did put a poll on my Instagram story asking if it's acceptable to make a YouTube reaction video to a single Instagram reel, and you all said yes, or most of you said yes anyway, and I will fully concede that it's rent-free at this point, but I've genuinely never been triggered so much by a single couple-minute Instagram reel.
I've been cutting for 12 weeks, and this is how much progress I've made. Ow, sweet baby mama!
My favourite influencer, Nick, second name that I can't pronounce, has been coming up on my feed constantly because on my new account, which you'd all go and follow by the way, I've obviously not used for that long, and because I've done a couple of reactions to his page and been on it, his stuff gets constantly shown on my algorithm. And this video of his 12-week endpoint of his summer cut, and I watched it and I was sitting there like, holy shit. Now, there has been a development since the last video I done on him, and that's that he has started to show client results on his page. And mind you, out of 60,000, you're going to need a few more than like 4 or 5 to really prove your worth. And always remember that all these influencers with the big followings that just talk nonsense and haven't got that much of a clue about training, by sheer number of volume who follow their plans and stuff, there will be the odd set of people who do actually get results from them, but that doesn't count for the majority, because the majority of people get absolutely fuck all.
Started at 238.5, bulked up to the gills, had a lot of fat on me, also a lot of muscle, and then I did a solid 12 weeks of cutting. This is how I look now, at 209 pounds. I've lost 30 pounds, looking a lot leaner. I'm
just going to break down the nonsense in this video, and at the end I'm just going to give you the one like key thing that he hasn't done, that he should be doing, that he can't do, because it would effectively not prove his whole method successful. So stay around to the end to make sure you watch for that.
I tracked every single meal down to the gram.
Now, the first piece of shite is the AI calorie tracking app that he promotes and he uses, and an AI app like this is never, ever, ever, ever going to be accurate. How from a single picture it can tell the specific products, the weight of the food, the volume that's there, ingredients that are used making it, it's just a load of crap. And please don't be a lazy bastard and just use MyFitnessPal. It's a piece of piss and it'll maybe be 2 minutes out your day, rather than using this AI thing and maybe saving yourself like a minute and a half.
The beauty of this journey so far is that because I bulked so hard and ate so many calories on the bulk, I was able to cut on loads of calories, and my metabolism is still firing like an absolute machine.
For the one semi-good bit of information that he said is that by bulking on a lot of calories, it allows you to cut on higher calories. And that is pretty correct, and we're going to come back to that. That statement on its own, without any kind of further context behind it, that's where the good information begins and ends.
I was able to cut on loads of calories, and my metabolism is still firing like an absolute machine.
The fact he's even mentioned metabolism here is fucking carnage. This isn't how you have and maintain a good metabolism. It's yo-yo dieting to mental extremes is what fucks up your metabolism. Going from super stuffing and force feeding yourself with calories that your body just doesn't want or need, to then starving it and restricting it from calories that your body wants, is not how you have a good metabolism. That's what causes long-term just fucking problems with it, and also just going to cause eating disorders and actually affect the mental side of things. When you go from one extreme to the next, your body isn't going to have a clue what's going on. 1 minute it's got all this extra food that it's trying to just digest and store and use in energy, and it's like working double overtime, and then the next minute it's like,
oh no, what happened?
And then that's where you start to get extra hungry and cravings and all the rest of it. And again, I say this from absolute experience.
I started the cut on 4,300 calories, and my weekly average weight after a week of cutting was 236.7 pounds. Week 12, I stayed on 3,200 calories, and my weekly average weight was 210.7 pounds.
Now, him drawing attention to the fact that he's lost 30 pounds in 12 weeks. Unless you're American, you should be using kilos. Stop trying to pander to American people. Use kilos. You live in Britain, it's kilos. So he's just shy of 14 kilos down in 12 weeks. Now, I'm going to be a bit pedantic with this, and I'll be honest, I've not like sat and worked it all out, but just kind of looking at the numbers as he lists them out. He's actually starting to lose slightly more weight as time goes on, not less. When you diet, you can go a little bit harder at the start, but your rate of loss should decrease over time, not increase. But the fact that he's 12 weeks in and he's still losing that sort of just around a kilo a week, first of all, it shows how much crap he actually does have to lose, but eventually that is going to catch up with you, and it should be decreasing over time. And even after, you know, the 8 to 10 week mark, for me personally, for most people, that's where the rate of loss should start to slow down. And by continuing going at that same relatively quick loss, you're just going to put your muscle and strength at increased risk of disappearing. It's a wee bit pedantic. I'm not going to kid on and say it's the worst crash diet I've ever seen, but it's something that could definitely be better.
I don't even consider these first 12 weeks the cut, to be honest. I'm still force feeding. My appetite's still really low. I don't feel hungry. I still feel like I'm bulking.
So still force feeding himself on loads of calories. Now, if you're a critical thinker like I try and be, and just look at things from a logical point of view, if you are still force feeding a set amount of calories, it probably tells you that your body doesn't actually need or want that amount of calories. Now, I would argue that it probably does, so he doesn't lose too much too soon, but because his body's metabolism's all over the place, it's not got a fucking clue what's going on, and that just backs up my previous point. But more to the point, if he doesn't need 3,200 calories now, then why the hell did he ever need 5 or 6,000 or whatever it is that he was eating before? The only reason that he's still eating so much food now is because he's still so fat. And it's a bit like saying your team is playing a semi-final and they lose 5-0 in the first leg, and then they go 3-0 up in the second leg, and they say, oh, the beauty about going 5-0 down in the first leg is that even when you score 3 goals in the second game, you've still got the game to play for and you're still chasing 2 goals, and it makes it exciting.
It's a bit of a weird analogy.
It's just such a backwards, stupid way to look at things, and it makes no sense. And I just go back to when your calories are so high and your body fat's so high, all it means is that you need to spend more time in a calorie deficit, which puts you in more of a catabolic state. Your muscle mass and strength is at more amount of jeopardy, just frittering away. And for all that period that you've bulked, you've just spent more time feeling uncomfortable and lethargic and just feeling shit.
The cut, in my mind, hasn't really even started. These first 12 weeks were the pre-cut. These next 12 weeks are going to be the actual cut when I actually get shredded.
Now I'm going to translate this one for you, because what this actually means is that he's now slowly coming to the realization of how hard he's actually having to cut to get rid of all the excess crap that he put on, and he's actually going to have to cut for a lot longer and for a lot harder than he originally thought. This is called cope, and this is some major coping going on here. And I can guarantee you that he thought that after 12 weeks he was going to be so much closer to being leaner. If not, he probably thought he was actually going to be lean already. And he's realised, like, right, okay, I've actually got like double the amount of time now that I need to cut for, which again, that's not good if you're wanting to maintain all your muscle mass.
And dice down to the bone. Once I get past the 200 mark and into the high 190s, that's when the real shreds come in.
And he follows this up by saying he's going to be looking lean when he gets to 200 pounds, which is about 4 kilos away. And I'm assuming that he's shown these clips here that this is what he thinks he's going to look like when he hits that 200. There is not a chance in hell he's going to look like that after dieting off another 9-10 pound or 4 or 5 kilo or whatever it is. And he'll be lucky if he actually gets there with another 10 kilos of diet. In these videos, like, he's objectively lean. He still can't see an ab yet, never mind back veins or anything. So I don't know how he thinks that there's only a few more kilos left of dieting before he looks like this.
I'm predicting myself to be shredded this year at 192, 193.
And he follows this up by saying he's going to be shredded at around 192, which is like another sort of 3-4 kilos off from where the 200 would be. And I have started to notice that he does very much like to use hyperbolic language, and obviously being shredded is subjective. To me, being shredded means that you're sitting around like single-digit body fat, and when he says that, he could very well just mean like lean, where you've kind of got abs and your muscles are kind of prominently showing, and he could very well look like that at 192. But there is not a chance on God's green earth that he's getting to 192 and being absolutely ripped at single-digit body fat. Now, what I would like to show you that indicates there's a good chance this is heading for disaster, and I actually did put this comment underneath the video. Now, see, talking about where he started and what he's going to look like at this weight and all this stuff, it's a little bit inconsequential. What he should be doing to highlight what muscle has been built is for him to put side by side what he looked like at 209 pound on the way up and 209 pound on the way down. Now, at the expense of spending time on his page, which probably means his stuff's going to be shown on my algorithm a lot more frequently, I've done a little bit digging to try and find out what he did look like at 209 on the way up. And I couldn't find that, and the closest thing that I could find was him at 211 pounds. So him being about a kilo heavier. And I'm just going to show you now. Now granted, currently he is due a shave and the lighting's probably not quite as good. But do you think that these two physiques look any different and that he's carrying so much more muscle and he's actually already leaner than he was on the way up? Because that's certainly not what I see. And at this point now, he should be looking leaner than he did on the way up because he's obviously got rid of fat and retained muscle. If you were to actually really dissect and analyse his physique, and again, he's actually lighter now, it actually looks a slight bit fatter, and I'm not even just saying that. In some of these pictures, and again it's posing and he's all at different angles and hunched over and stuff, and it is hard to tell. But what I can guarantee is there's certainly like 5, 6, 7 kilos of muscle being built like he's claiming he was going to. I'm not saying that as of right now he's not holding any more muscle, and he very well could have built like a pound, a couple of pound worth of muscle. And you know what, by the end of his diet he might turn it all around and shock me and put me in my place, and he'll just be like absolutely peeled, so much heavier than where he was last time he was pretty lean. But the point that I have tried to make from the start is that, do you really think you need to go through all that process of getting so fat, stuff in your face, feeling shit, I'm sure feeling self-conscious about yourself, not wanting to take your top off, having jiggly tits when you speak, in order to gain like a couple pound or a kilo and a bit of like muscle? This could have been done so much simpler, so much easier, with a little bit more discipline. But see, just taking things slow and just like maintaining and getting to a point where you don't have to force feed yourself and you just slowly increase calories while keeping a lean-ish physique. And not to say you don't gain any body fat at all, but you did not have to go that whole way for the sake of like a kilo, maybe 2 kilos of muscle. Please just remember that going forward. And yes, if you want to watch him and get a laugh out of him, I don't know why, because he's not really that funny, but you know what, if it provides you with entertainment, fair enough. But please don't take his training advice verbatim, because it's absolutely garbage. Still time to prove me wrong though, and I'll have to hold my hands up if he does get lean. But everything I'm saying right now is looking like it's going to say otherwise. And if you want some proper training advice that's going to make you strong and handsome, where you can maintain a good physique year round, maybe not peak physique, but certainly a good physique whilst being your strongest year round and never having to like deal with being like super weak and drained and all that stuff, I'm the guy that you should listen to. And if you want coaching for that as well, then I'm 100% the guy you should be coming to. Another long video today, usual plugs for the like and subscribe and all that jazz, and I will catch you soon.